Hello, my friends. John LaRuffa here with another straight up solo. In this episode, we're going to take a deep look into the solo mode for Atiwa. Without any more delay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, I really appreciate the support. It really means a lot to me. Okay, so this is now starting round 3 in a solo game of Atiwa. Now, here's the situation with this game. This game is on the level of complexity of a game like Newsford from Uwe Rosenberg. It also feels a lot like Newsford in the fact that you have 3 actions per round no matter what. That's what you do. There's a fixed number of rounds in this game, which is 7, which I think is also the same in Newsford, but I could be wrong. It might be 9. And then you are basically working with a situation where as you put your workers out, they stay on the board until you've put out 3 sets of workers, and then you remove your set you did the first time, and so you kind of clog the board with that type of mechanic. This is very much a puzzle type game, okay? And the puzzle is this. You are trying to score 120 points. And by the way, I haven't gotten close to that yet in the solo mode. I've played it twice. I had 78 and 81. And so I've got a long way to go. But the way the puzzle works is you're scoring points in the variety these categories. First, the kind of points that you get or that come with the cards that you build. So the cards in the towns, there's a farmstead, a settlement, a village, and a town, which cost 3, 6, 9, and 13. I'm sorry, which gain you 3, 6, 9, and 13 points. And they have a cost to them. So you have to spend golden trees to get those cards. There are also the terrain cards you can get for free, and not only just for free, but they also give you some type of good when you get them or something of that nature. And those can give you some small points, or they even can be worth negative points. And the variety in this game comes from these cards up here being different just about every game you play. And you're only going to see maybe 7 or 8 of them if you're really pushing hard. You probably see less than that depending on your strategy. The other part of the variety of this game is that these action tiles right here, you shuffle up. And so a good half of your actions or so are a combination of tile and what's printed on the board, which will change every time you play. So these combinations are what provide the variety. There are no occupations. There are no other minor or major improvements or anything like that. The puzzle is what you see here. You also have a limited number of resources to work with. And that means the wild animals, the trees, the fruit, the families in your village, and then your goats. Okay, and the more that you build of these, the more points you will get in this game as well. So there are different gradations for how many points you get. For every single family you settle, you'll get 2 points at the end of the game. For every single goat you put down on your area, you'll get 1. But it's for every 2 wild animals, you'll get 1 point up to, I think it just goes up to 2. So not very many points in the wild animals category. And the trees go up to 6 for every 2, and then the fruit goes up to 3, but it's 1 every 3. And so these things are kind of how you gather all your points in this game. There is no other way to score. I take that back. One other way to score. Gold is worth 1 point at the end of the game, and your flipped over or trained families that you train them to appreciate fruit bats, they are worth 1 point. So that all gets tracked on this nice little scorecard here. And you could also lose points if you don't feed your family, but feeding your family is very easy in this game. That really shouldn't happen unless you make some big mistakes. Now, it still costs you points. So when you feed, you're always using these resources, which ultimately all gain you points. So it's not like it's just something that you can feed without paying a price, so to speak. Okay, so the flow of the game is very simple. It is, you place your 3 workers, you do a maintenance phase, you do that 7 times, that's it. So like I said, I'm starting round 3, and I'll just go ahead and show you a couple of turns. And this game is also very self-explanatory. Once you've learned the rules, you probably won't have to go back and do it again. Basically, when you put one of your workers down in the space, you get exactly what it says. Okay, these are the only places where you really pay to get something, with the exception of this space and this space. These spaces over here, they do have a variable benefit. This one would give you a gold nugget for every one of these little nature hands you have, and I have one of them so far. Most of these are found in fact, all of these are found in these categories or these cards up here, but not every card has one of those. And then if you have at least 4 cards, you would be able to do this action once. In this case, train a family. This would be similar as you train families, but then you get 1 gold, okay? So just showing you some actions here and what I'm doing. You're really trying to make this expand as quickly as possible. Okay, so I'm going to take this first action, and right now as it stands, I am a little behind in the food area. I've got a couple of gold, but why don't I do this? Why don't I get this bush up here, this terrain, because that will help me do a couple things. Number 1, it's full of wild animal spaces. Number 2, it has a spot for trees, and then it has this blank space. The blank space in this game, you can put anything on there as long as it's already on the card, with the one exception of families. Families just can't live in a blank space, okay? But everything else, as long as you have it in the card at least someplace, you can put it there additionally. Now, these cards can go in rows of up to 4, and the only reason that the order in which they go down matters is for pollution. Pollution always fills in left to right, top to bottom. So if you really didn't want a space to be polluted and you were worried about it, for instance, I have this one family here that may or may not be trained by the time I'm done with maintenance, I would not put this card here if I really wanted that space to not get polluted. But the reason I put it there is because, let's say I do take a pollution, I don't really want to cover up the space that could hold a goat. So that's the only reason that the placement matters that I can tell in this game. Okay, so I've done that for my first action. That also comes with the wild animal. I will take that off of my storage area, which will reveal potentially something in the collection phase. All right, and I have to put it someplace on my card where it would go, and I'll put it down here, nice, safe, and sound right there. Next action, after each action you take, if you have 3 bats, you can fly them to these places over here, the night card, which I'll show you right now. You take the 3 bats, and you move them here, and then they can eat one of your fruits, which you put back on that spot, and that will basically spread the seeds and give you a tree. And so how you reforest your game board or your tableau is through that mechanic in most cases. And why do I want to do that? Well, because not only do trees give me points, they also grow more fruit if I have more of them, but also I need trees to be able to build these different town, settlement, farm stand, village cards, which are worth a lot of points at the end of the game. Okay, so I did that, and you can see I don't have any more bats, so I'm not going to be able to do that again in a turn, nor do I have any more fruit. But the next thing I probably will do is one of these actions that is going to address the lack of bats. I'm a little low here. Oh, you do score, I keep saying, you do score points for, if you have more than 10 bats, you'll get 1 point for every bat you have over 10, pardon me. So I'm going to grab these 2 trees here. I'll put one on this space and one on this space right there. Okay, and then I'll finish the action here, and because it can give me either 2 bats or a wild animal, I said I'm a little low on bats. I'd like to get 2 more bats, and I'll tell you why I'm low in just a second. So I'll put that bat there and there. Now, I have this guy right here. I could leave them there with the fact that he's going to put a pollution out and risk maybe not getting any gold, maybe getting 1 or maybe 2. All right, and I'll show you that mechanic here in just a second. But I don't think I'm going to risk that if I can avoid it. But it looks like there's no good real way to do it besides this action right here. Or, I take that back, we could do this action right here. So I can go here. I have 2 of these, so I can get 2 gold. 1, 2. And then because I have 4 cards, I can go ahead and train this family to love bats. All right, so I could do that. Now, I'm done with my 3 actions, as you can see. The next thing I would do is go through this 7-step maintenance phase, which is pretty good, easy to do, and thankfully they give you a nice card. You could just follow it. Very simple. So the first thing is collect 1 gold per trained family. So I have 3 trained families, 1, 2, 3. I'll go ahead and collect the 3 gold. Then it says collect new trees, fruits, and fruit bats. So I look at each of these couple of columns here, and I see, does it reveal a number for me? Well, I don't have enough wild animals to allow me to build 1 tree for free, so I don't have that. But I do have 3 fruits. So these 3 fruits come out like this. And I can place them anywhere I wanted, really. The only concern about placing them, again, is if you're going to pollute a spot, you might lose it. And then it says I get 1 more bat. So I have to find a place for the bat. Bats can go in bat spaces, train spaces, or even those empty spaces, like I said, if they're available and you have something that can duplicate on them. Okay, and then I've gotten all those. Now it says return the fruit bats. So we're going to put these back, and if I didn't have any space for them for whatever reason, I'd have to discard them. Now I have to do my feeding of the family. So I take a look. My family needs, say, 5. But the 2 goats that I already have provide 2 food already just in the form of milk. So I only need basically 3 food. And this handy dandy card right here shows me how to get my 3 food however I want. In the case that I'm dealing with right now, I think the best thing to do, honestly, would be just to eat one of these goats. Because I can get some goats next time, and that will just solve my problems easily. So I'm going to go ahead and eat that goat for 3 food. Now, when you put that back on, you don't have to refigure your food, because in essence, this already gave me 2 food full of milk, and then I ate the goat. So there we go. I've got my food taken care of. Now we go to breeding. The breeding works a little differently in this game. You basically look and see on each of these rounds, there's going to be different values of things. And if you meet or exceed those values, you get another one. Okay? So, do I have 3 families? Yes, I do. They're covered with the bat token right now, but I have 3 of them. And that's all I need, so I get another family. So we moved somebody in. Do I have 6 bats? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Yes, I do. That's why I wanted to get bats, because I knew it was going to come up from a breeding standpoint. And so I wanted to do that. Do I have 2 wild animals? Yes, I do. So I could take another wild animal and put it on the spot. And that's a big way of, like any Uwe Rosenberg game, through the breeding, you're going to be filling up and hoping to maximize that. Now, since I've been done with the breeding, I've returned any of my workers from the board. In this case, you return the workers situated on the next round color. So I'd return my red workers here because I'm going to need to use them again. You don't return any workers in the first 2, round 1 or round 2. At the end of those, you don't return. You only return to round 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I guess, you'd return at round 7, the game's over. So now, basically, I would slide that over like you just saw me do. And when I slide it over, the guy does not slide with it. The guy stays there. Okay, so you just remove him and keep him on the round space that he took the action. Then I would deal out another one of these cards, and I'd play my next round. So you can see it is, from a complexity level standpoint, not all that complex. I'd say it's right on the level of a Nushford, or maybe, I'll put it right there. That's, to me, I've heard people say Glass Road, but Glass Road has a mechanic with resources that can expire and different things and card play. None of that's here. It's much more of, I get a Nushford feel from this. Okay, so that's it. Again, you're trying to make this as large as possible to score the most points you can from your different, I'll just call them settlement cards, and your different wilderness cards, plus bonus points for bats, bonus points for trained people, so having these flipped over, money is worth points, and you really want to try to get all these things planted or fixed or whatever out here so that you can get the points for them. And that's it. So let me tell you what I think about this from a solo perspective. And also I'm going to compare it to the other titles that Uwe has done recently. All right, so that's Atiwa from a solo standpoint. I'll answer a couple of questions that I've gotten before I did this video first. Number 1, Is it difficult to set up? Does it take a long time? No, it doesn't. Because there's no card sorting here, this game can be set up well in absolutely under 5 minutes. The way I do the situation, I put all the wooden components that I need for the fixed supply in one bag, just pass those out and just boom, line them up. That's the longest part of it. It's slightly tedious, but it doesn't take very long. There's no card sorting, so that's not a big deal. It's definitely one of the shortest games to set up from Uwe Rosenberg's standpoint. I can't think of even another game that might be quicker. From the main big box games, certainly a lot faster than Agricola, Caverna, A Feast for Odin, Fields of Arl, all those definitely faster than that. Number 2, is it easy to get to that win condition of 120? Not for me, at least, not yet. I haven't cracked the puzzle, but what I like about it is this. So there are a whole bunch of scenarios on the back that change the win condition that you are going for. So you have 7 other options, which I think is fantastic, because I could see if you can figure out the puzzle, I'm guessing, I haven't yet, that you might be able to achieve that 120 regularly and say, well, this is how you do it. I got to do these things, and boom, that's what I got to do. But those 7 different other scenarios change what you're doing. And for instance, I'll tell you what I'll just read a couple of them for you. I put that back down. But one of them says, focus on urban development only. Remove all terrain cards from play. Okay? And that's, I don't even know how. That'd be interesting. Finish the game with at least 90 points when you do that. Build one of every location while amassing, this is the investor, while amassing as much gold as possible. So you got to finish the game with at least 1 farm stand, 1 settlement, 2 villages, and 1 town, more than 20 gold left, and then score 100 points. Another one would be finish the game without a single point of pollution and get at least 100 points. That one's probably, well, maybe it's one of the easier ones, because pollution is somewhat avoidable depending on the way the map goes. I had one over there. And you know what? When I did my little thing, no, I trained it. Never mind. I just looked back and I saw that I had one that wasn't there, but that was because I got him in the settlement phase. But I didn't show you that pollution side of things. What you do is you grab a token out of the bag, and the token may have a gold on it, may have 2 gold on it, may have 0 gold on it. Either way, you may get lucky, you may not, but that basically creates a dead space on your tableau of cards for the rest of the game. You don't get minus points for them, but it just wipes that space out. Okay, so there's a lot of different scenarios, which I think is really good, because that, I think, will be part of the joy of the puzzle solving for this game. Otherwise, I think because it is such a tight and narrow scoped puzzle, without that, I think you might play it for 10, 15 times, but once you start achieving that score threshold, you'd be thinking to myself, well, okay, I kind of got there, but what other strategies can I try? Well, those things will allow us to do that. So I'm very excited about that. Things that I like about the game, for sure, I love solving puzzles, right? It's one of my favorite mechanics in a Euro game, so I like puzzly games like this. This one checks all those boxes. It's fun to try to figure out what actions to take when, which ones are going to have the best cascading effects, the breeding phase, how much do I need to eat, etc., etc. All that makes this game a real joy to play. Number 2, I really like the fact that the actions are variable. So switching around those different action tiles really does change up the kind of thing you can do, because I'm assuming as you get more and more experience with this, you kind of look at the actions and you say, okay, these are paired with these are paired with these are going to come in and provide some really nice ones later. But if, depending on the pairing, that might change the kind of game you play. I like the variety in those terrain cards. They have a lot of similarities, but there's some that are very different. Some that are heavy on cattle, or heavy on bats, or trees, or a mixture. A couple of points, all those other things. I just think it's fun. The farm stand, settlement, village, and town cards are identical. So those are always going to be the same. And so you're going to be building those to be able to house more families, and the larger, the more points. But I really enjoy it. I also like the idea of having enough bats to keep, sending out, try to get a little bat army going to send out and to keep planting trees, because you really need those trees to be able to expand later on and to score points and to get more fruit, etc. I don't want to share any other little tidbits of things that I've figured out, because I think a big part of this game will be solving and discovering the puzzle. So if you like that kind of thing, you're going to enjoy this one. This one is not a sandbox style Uwe Rosenberg game like Fields of Arle or Caverna or Feast for Odin. It is not that kind. It's very narrow in scope. And that's okay. It's narrow in scope, sort of like the feeling of Newsford was, right? If you like that one, then you'll like this one from a scope standpoint. It doesn't have the angst I guess I should say this. The food part of it is not very how do I got to feed my people? So you're not going to gain a lot of that angst. But I'm sure that the way you feed them can have negative consequences. In you could cut yourself off at the legs to getting higher scores, and maybe I just haven't felt or know that yet. I don't know. Oh, I'm behind the 8 ball. I haven't figured out where that pacing is yet in this game. But that's something to discover too. So overall, I really like it. I really enjoy it from a soul standpoint. I think that when you leave your meeples there and they block those spaces, that provides plenty of tightness because they stick around for 3 full rounds before you can take that space again. So that's going to definitely, the order of operation and how many times do I want to take this action in this game is a big thing to consider. So there's just a lot to explore. I think it's really good. I think the price point's pretty good. I think the component quality is excellent. So I'm giving this one a win. Would I have loved to see another brain buster of a game from Uwe Rosenberg? Absolutely. It doesn't rise to the level of my favorites from him, like the Fields of Arle, the Feast for Odin, which is my all-time favorite game with the expansion, Norwegian expansion. It's not at that level. It's not top tier. It's not bottom by any means. I'm so glad it's not just another polyomnial mix and match kind of thing. It's definitely in that middle area, which is just fine. I have a lot of those games, and I still enjoy playing them. Like I've talked about, Newsford, the campaign in that is a lot of fun. Hallertau probably has a little bit more of a branching strategy, so to speak, than this one. It's more wide in scope. This one's a little bit narrower. It doesn't have the kind of tightness, though, that you get with a game like At the Gates of Lo Yang. You just have more freedom, I think, to accomplish it. And again, I'm not getting the big scores, so I probably am way behind the pace car on that, and I'm not seeing it. But it's just a pleasant, fun game to play. It's plenty to think about, plenty to consider. The choices are not obvious, and I think that's really good too. And that's the way I feel about it. So I hope that if you like this sort of game, you can get your hands on a copy of this. I'm waiting for it for quite a long time. If you're looking for something huge and big and massive and sandboxy in scope, this one's not going to provide that, right? This will be much more narrow. But I think it's a great game anyway. Great game for a solo collection. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate everybody. And whatever you decide to do in the future, hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy.